Yo, so we've been talking offline, and of course, the hot topic of this conversation, among many, but I think the hottest that the IWC has been buzzing about is Undertaker and Michelle McCool, his podcast, 6 Feet Under, crossing over into WWE land and getting a bit watered down. It would seem that the dead man has come alive and perhaps a little too alive.
Yeah, so I mean, and this is my personal take on
No
this.
doubt.
The cool thing about the Undertaker over the years is he always had that aura of respect. Like he was so infallible as a character that you were just like, man, that's the Undertaker.
100%.
And whatever the Undertaker said was gold. What do we used to say back in the day? Word is bond.
Facts.
So to see this now, dude, for me, if you were considering him for Mount Rushmore, I think this takes a hit towards that.
I can't disagree with you, bro. I really can't. I've thought about it. I can understand. All right. I can understand as a married man. I get it. My man has done his thing in his career. He's cemented his legacy. He's done it all. Now's the time for Mark Calloway, the family man, the husband, to more or less take center stage. Having said that, and this is the hard part, and you know this very well, Big K-Dog, from being an athlete yourself, any pro athlete, anybody who's done anything of note, you're always going to have that level of accountability to your audience. I mean, look at Mike Tyson. You look at Muhammad Ali, in the boxing world, of course. But, you transition to former football players, guys like Shannon Sharp. You can drop names in every sport.
Yeah.
And especially professional wrestling. There's an accountability factor that even today, Undertaker, Mick Foley, Stone Cold, whoever, The Rock, they're always going to be held, John Cena, to a standard that they can't escape from. And so I kind of feel bad for him because, yeah, I know he wants to be like, hey, man, Mark Calloway's kicking back, doing his thing now. I don't owe anybody anything. I don't have to prove anything. But you kind of do. And you can't escape it.
Well, I think where the problem is the way all of this came about.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, think about this. 6 Feet Under with Mark Calloway is over a year old.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So they built that from the scratch, from
100%.
the ground up. I can't remember the guy's name who was the co-host, but they were business partners.
Yes.
And Undertaker sold it out from underneath him.
Now, wow. I was not aware of that.
Without any, he just said, hey, we're moving this podcast to WWE. And he was like, I guess that means I'm out. And he's like, yeah.
Wow.
So, and, they're still friends, but that's a red flag. And then, Undertaker's on LFG, right?
Yes, indeed.
She makes a guest appearance on one show, and then she removes Mickey James, who is way more qualified to be a coach than Michelle McCool ever could be. And then Michelle McCool comes in, and suddenly she has 2 number 1 draft picks and takes the best 2 people in the show and ends up winning the show.
Yeah, about that.
And then add that to the fact that she, for some reason, mysteriously gets entered into the Hall of Fame when her career by far does not submit herself viable in any way, shape, or form for the Hall of Fame.
And I think that's one of the biggest problems that the IWC has. I personally have with the Undertaker and putting Michelle McCool over, we'll say. The challenge is this, man. You can't go back and retroactively make someone's career that much better than it was. You look at, a tag team like the Usos or Dudley Boys or the Hardy Boys. You don't have to embellish the Steiner brothers. You don't have to embellish. You don't have to embellish, legends. Legends are legends, period.
Correct.
But when you go back and you're like, man, they were so monumental to wrestling, to women's wrestling. You're like, come on, man, we were there.
Yeah. I mean, she was the first women's or first Divas champion, right?
Wow. I don't even know if she could take that credit.
I think she was. I think she was the first Divas champion.
Interesting. I had to look
Divas.
No doubt. I have to look that up.
I think she was. But anyways, even if she wasn't, it's the fact that all that. And then, they start this new podcast, 6 Feet Under with The Undertaker.
Sure.
So now it's it's on WWE's platform. So now it's The Undertaker. It's not Mark Calloway.
Sure.
And the format has drastically changed. It went from Mark Calloway talking about his life on the road with all the guests that showed up.
Sure.
And things that they did together or that they saw, to now a husband and wife team.
Yes.
And a guy that, although you can tell at times he wants to say things, knows that he has to be reserved because his wife is in the room.
100%.
And if you've ever been around that dichotomy, it's an uncomfortable dichotomy to be around.
Sure.
Because when you're trying to have a conversation with someone, a legitimate conversation, and reminisce, you want to reminisce.
Sure.
You don't want that person to be jaded and hold their tongue because their wife's in the room. You want them to remember, hey, man, remember when we went and did this? You're like, dang, dog, I barely remember that.
Facts.
So I think it's created just this icky feeling. And they went as far as to address it on the podcast.
Well, how did you hear that episode?
Yeah. I saw little clips about it, but he was like, I would never use my clout to get my wife anything in wrestling.
Now, I did read that quote elsewhere, yes.
And they were like, listen, this is what it's going to be. If you don't like it, you don't have to tune in. You can go somewhere else, but this is what this is going to be from now on.
I totally get him. I'm not mad at him.
I'm mad at him. It took away a podcast that I like to watch and listen to.
Yeah.
And made it dog water.
That's facts. Now, I'll say that I'm not mad at him, and I respect his decision as Mark Calloway. As The Undertaker, I can't get behind it. And the fan in me is always going to say, man, that's The Undertaker. Right? Like, and especially you're the American badass. You built this career on being the baddest dog in the yard, the toughest guy. That's who we're going to resonate with. Stone Cold, yeah. Has he had conversations here and there? Hey, baby, grab me a beer or whatever. On his podcast, sure. He talked about, hey, me and wifey went and did this, sure. But by and large, Stone Cold's going to kick it and be Stone Cold.
Yeah,
that's just what it is. That's who she married. With Undertaker, yeah, I think the challenge is, man, his core fan base is going to lose a lot of respect for him, and you can't avoid that. You just can't avoid it.
Yeah, and like I said, I think that's the issue. Is now you're so far into this that now you're borderline legacy tarnishing.
You're not lying. Well, you remember it started with AJ Styles.
Yeah.
AJ took that shot. You wipe off that old crusty jacket and hat and get back in the ring because Michelle wants you to make some more money. Now, it's well documented now that Michelle McCool took offense to that, even though she knew it was a promo. But could there be any shred of truth to it? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate that.
So I'm going to read you something. I read this. This is just a recap. This is not the actual article.
Yeah.
But this is just a recap. Freddie Prinze Jr. recently shared a story about The Undertaker's influence in WWE.
Yes.
contradicting Taker's claim that he never used his power to get favors. According to Prince, a storyline involving Michelle McCool dropping the Divas Championship at the Royal Rumble was nixed after McCool spoke with The Undertaker. Prince, who was in WWE writer from 2008 to 2009, stated that he had approval from Stephanie McMahon, Michael Hayes, and Vince McMahon for the storyline.
Mhm.
However, Hayes later told him that the story was scrapped because McCool didn't like it, and she had spoken to The Undertaker, who then spoke to Vince McMahon.
Uh-huh.
The story goes against Undertaker's recent claims that he never used his influence for personal gain. The Undertaker and Michelle McCool have not addressed Prince's claims yet. Prince shared the story on his podcast, Wrestling with Freddie, which originally aired in 2022, but is gaining traction now.
Wow.
So this is not for real. This is not like a new thing.
No, it's not.
This has been going on for a while. And listen, I'm not saying that it's wrong.
No, not at all.
I mean, that's part of the quote unquote benefits package you get from being the main guy. You can say, I'm not doing that, or we're not doing that.
Mhm.
However, you can't go out and say that I never use that to do that when everyone who has a brain cell to rub together, two brain cells to rub together, knows that's what you do.
Perfect.
I mean, look at what stories about Hulk Hogan.
Facts.
I mean, everyone will tell you if Hulk Hogan didn't want to do something, he wasn't doing it. And if you're the Hulk Hogan of your company, you're trying to tell me, nah, I never did that. I never nixed something because I didn't want to do it. I never used my power to get something I want. Come on, man.
Not gonna happen. And like you said, anybody who knows. And again, and I think you said it perfectly, man. It's not that, oh man, now I hate him and now I'm just gonna burn all my merch. It's not about that. It's just, I think the fans who really care, we're like, dude, we care so much, and we don't want to see you go down a road that you can't come back from, and then Hall of Fames later, appearances later, Comic Cons later, podcast down the road. It's like, man, you lost something.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's no going back. Now again, respect the family man, respect everything he's got going on with his marriage. I'm not hating on you. I think any married man at the end of the day is going to make concessions. That's a part of the game. That's how the marriage matrix goes, right? That's how it is. However, if you're the Undertaker, it's going to have a profound effect, and I think it already has.
I agree. And if it's something that is a trending topic, it 100% has a lasting effect.
Wow.
And it's not like this is something that's been going on for the last couple of days. This has been going on for a couple months now.
Yeah, man. Well, if we live in a world that's driven by content, right? If we were to flip the script all of a sudden with everything we've been doing for the past 3 years here and say, okay, well, now you know what? This is the Choir Boy channel. We're going to drink milk and we're going to sit around and sing Kumbaya. Our core fan base is going to say, bro, that's not Breezy and K-Dog.
No.
Who is that? You can't be anybody but you.
Yeah.
So therein lies a challenge, man. I hope that somehow they can recover. I think that if anything, sign Michelle McCool to, obviously you got her LFG, sign her to some kind of deal where she can be a correspondent. She can do other things, and let Undertaker rock that, because at the end of the day, and just being straight up brutal, we're there to hear the Undertaker.
Yeah, I don't want to hear Michelle McCool's opinion on anything.
Yeah, and that's not hating on her, taking nothing away from her.
Oh no, it's 100%. I really just do not care what she has to say.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'm not hating on you.
I have zero cares to hear her mouth in a sentence.
Doesn't mean that.
Yeah, I'm not. If I wanted to listen to that, I would sign up for a podcast of married life between Mark and Michelle.
There you go. Exactly.
I don't want to listen to that. I don't care about that. I want to listen to the Undertaker tell stories about his life in the wrestling business.
Facts.
That's why I started watching that podcast.
Facts. Facts. You flip the script, and hey, you're gonna get what you get.
And it's funny too. Like I showed you the other day, and I just noticed this because somebody else pointed it out. But if you look at the thumbnails,
Yeah.
and the views on the video, the thumbnails that have her prominent on the thumbnail are the lowest viewed videos in the series. And if you go in and look at the comments, it's a complete slam fest the whole time.
You know it. You know it. You know, and we talk about this. The challenge with WWE is this. I honestly think that they don't care.
I'm gonna say, hold on now.
Yeah.
Because they just released a statement that they are bringing in new creative people to change the roles in creative, because obviously everyone has been saying that the content has been stale all year long. So they're keeping Road Dogg as the head of writer of SmackDown, but they're bringing in a whole different crew to help bolster SmackDown and other shows.
Sure. Yeah, I don't think that they're concerned about the YouTube views like that per se.
Yeah.
If the metrics of watch time, engagement are there, because then of course they can say, well, hey, look, it's getting eyeballs on it. It's getting people talking about it. Hey, maybe it's not as many unique views, but look what we're generating, and look how many people are engaged.
Yeah, but you're gonna lose sponsorship opportunity if your views keep going down.
I agree. It's a dangerous game to play. It is a dangerous game to play. I'm with you on that. I'm totally with you on that.